You are listening to Live Free with Rebecca Packard. With this podcast, Rebecca will help spiritual entrepreneurs and mompreneurs experience emotional freedom so that they can create calm and balance in all areas of their life. If you're ready to release your emotional baggage, trauma, and that constant feeling of overwhelm, then you are in the right place. Your journey starts now. Here's your host, Rebecca Packard.
Hi, welcome back. This is Rebecca Packard, and I am so excited to have you here this week. And we are talking with Heather Delanoy. She is a mom. She is also a worker from Homer and works for one of the biggest companies in the country and has been going through the challenges of what working from home looks like, along with running a family and along with taking care of herself during all of that. We're excited to have her here. Hello, Heather.
Hello, Miss Becky. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yay! We're excited you're here today. If you could just introduce yourself and tell people a little bit about you and what it looks like to be Heather in today's world.
That's a great, interesting question. I am married. My husband and I just celebrated our 20th anniversary a couple of weeks ago. Woo-woo. I have an 11-year-old son that is on the autism spectrum. He is an amazing boy and surprises us every day. He's in the 6th grade. And I work for a telecommunications company that I've just celebrated 21 years with.
That's amazing. Yeah. Like, the fact that, first, congratulations on having a marriage for 20 years.
Thank you.
Those are few and far between these days. So celebrating that on a big scale, I think, is super important. And then also having a 21-year career at the same company, another thing that is few and far between for so many. So celebrations there. And then being a mom on top of all of it, right?
Yes.
And so in the space of juggling everything in life, you have your hands full. As you said, you do have a son that is on the spectrum. Your husband is an amazing human being also, and he is somebody who is very involved in community and involved in his job. So both of you being in the space of full-time careers, raising a human, doing all the things. How are you able to show up for yourself and take care of yourself in all of that?
My husband and I have an amazing partnership. If I need time to myself, I will say I need time. And I don't even have to say anything more than that. Most of the time, I don't even have to ask him. He can tell by what's going on in the world. If I'm stressed, if it looks like I haven't showered in 3 days, he will take the time to take my son and they'll go on adventures. They'll go on drives around town. And he'll be like, we're gone for a couple of hours. Go do what you need to do. Go do you. And I'll get to shower. I'll get to do laundry. I'll get to do whatever it is that needs to be done.
That's amazing. That is fantastic. A lot of people forget that communication is huge. Right. And also having a secondary in your home, your partner in life, to be able to read you and be like, hey, I love you so much. It's time for you to care for you. So if you're listening, check in with yourself. Are you having good communication with your spouse? Are you having good communication with your significant other? Are there ways that you can open that channel? Also, are they good at reading you? Are they good at reading what's happening in the space? And are you good at reading them? Because I know she won't give herself the credit, but Heather's also very good at doing this for her spouse. And I've seen them do this many times. They're amazing together. How else in the space of, juggling all the things, are there certain things that you lean into for self-care? What's your this will be good kind of thing to take care of yourself and release stress or anything that might be coming up for you?
I always try to find time. Today, before I picked my son up from school, I ran to the grocery store, and the grocery store that we go to, there is a TJ Maxx right next door. And I always stop in at TJ Maxx. I don't have to buy anything, but I have to touch the blankets. I have to smell all the candles. I'll take 20 minutes, 30 minutes just to wander around the store. I may find something. I may not. It's just a little bit of time just to not even think. My phone's not on. I don't have to worry about anybody calling me. I just wander the store and touch and feel and smell everything.
Mm-hmm. That is so important too. It's not about the shopping aspect. It's about changing the scenery, showing up in a space, just engaging in the connection of senses and moving through in your own time, in your own space, in silence, like, and disconnected. I love that. She and I also frequent together and it's fabulous.
Your sign's on sale. I saw it.
We're fashionistas. Oh my gosh, please don't tell me that. I'll go and get it right away. I still tell Nate I need to have it. And he's like,
it's not too expensive. Give it a couple more days, but it's out there.
You guys, I really want this wooden witches sign. I really love it. But in all of the things, so one of the things I'm gonna overshare is, so Heather's a third shifter. And in the space of third shifters, I was a third shifter for a very long time. If you are just like checking in and you're like, I have no idea what you mean by third shifter, we're literally talking about people who work in the middle of the night. It's not some weird psychic term or anything like that. We're literally talking in human space, somebody who works in the middle of the night. Heather, how are you taking care of yourself in that space? Because for a very long time you worked in that space and then you didn't, and all of a sudden you've switched back to that. So what does that look like? What are some things you could help other third shifters with, or help other people who have a spouse that's a third shifter? That's a double question. Sorry, I'm kind of throwing it all on you. To understand what that world is like, because it is not like any other.
No, it's not. The world is not kind to third shift people. Just
No.
example today, they're power washing the house across the street from me, which is right across from my bedroom, which if I was asleep, that would not allow me to sleep. But you can't ask them to stop doing what they're doing because it's the normal world. So the first time I did it, it was very easy. I was 10 years younger, so I didn't really bat. And you do what needs to be done. And that's what I did. I had to work third shift. I was going to school. I had to take care of, at the time, my husband's grandmother lived with us. I was there to take care of her. My son was born. It was just, you did it. And at one point, the doctors were like, you need to figure something out. And I'm like, well, I can't. This is my life. This is, because I was sleep deprived. And they're like, something's going to give. I'm like, nothing's going to give. This is what it is. And you just plow through. Coffee and caffeine makes things work. Now I'm doing it because I have to, because to keep my job, I was told that's where I'm going. And I said, okay, it's more difficult this time around. And I'm only attributing it to age, because everything else has gone away. I'm done school. Unfortunately, my husband's grandmother's passed. My son's in school, so it's not like I have to worry about him. I'm attributing the difference this time around to age, but it's you have to set a dedicated sleep schedule. You have to adhere to it. As soon as my shift gets over, that's one of the blessings of being from home. My commute to home is 30 seconds. All I have to do is turn off my computer and I'm home. So that's much nicer than it was the last time around. And you have to force yourself to go to sleep right away to get into a routine.
Yeah, I knew. It is not like any other. And a lot of people who, if you've never ever worked third shift, there's no, well, I stayed up late one night. I pulled a one all-nighter. It's just not the same. Trying to flip your entire schedule and be awake in the middle of the night and asleep during the day is just painful. But making it work is essential, because there's a huge population of people who are third shifters. And so going right to sleep, I know you have a sound machine that helps tone things out. Blackout curtains also help. For me, I would double up on vitamin D during the day on my awake time. A lot of people, they skip that part and like, you're not getting real sunlight, so you need to either get yourself a light that does sunshine. And even then you should still supplement with vitamin D because it just helps so much better. And I know you do take vitamins on a regular basis daily. But also finding the space of everybody else in the world isn't on third shift and life still happens around you. And then there's also the situations of like, I know the other week school got out early, so you miss some sleep. So allowing yourself the time to have those naps too, right? That's important. And so if you're listening and you're a third shifter, give yourself the time to take those naps. Give yourself the love to take those vitamins and everything. It's not overreacting. It's not going out of, it's not normal for everybody, but it has to be normal for you, right? And then if you're somebody who's the spouse of, or you're with somebody who is a third shifter, just be supportive in that space. That is one of those things where it's like, oh my gosh, you're awake, they're asleep, you're asleep, they're awake, and you have that, the ships in the night effect, right? So what's one of the things that you're actively doing during this space of you being a third shifter again, that's helping you with that passing phase?
We try to spend as much time together as we can. My husband's job is more or less second shift. So he'll be home in the morning and he'll go in between like 10 and 11. And depending on what's going on with his team and the schedule, he could be home anywhere from 8 to 11 o'clock at night. Now I am up with my son till about 9 when he goes to bed. And then if my husband's home, I stay up and he yells at me to go to bed. But we need to have some time together to talk about adult things and, just be able to vent to one another and have an adult conversation without, an 11-year-old pulling at you, pulling at your arm. But but then you have guilt because you're not sleeping, and then he has guilt because he thinks he's keeping me awake, and then like we argue. He'll say, go to bed. I'm like, don't tell me to go to bed. Don't tell me what to do. I want to spend time with you. I want to see you. And
right.
So sometimes I give up sleep just to be able to be with my family. Yeah. And know I'll be able to catch up at some point.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing is like, I know you guys also schedule dates. You guys have scheduled walks and different things like that. So making the time to do those things and having that time. And I think it's really important that you said this, having time one-on-one without the children. Everybody loves their children, you guys, but having that time where it's just you and your other half is essential to a relationship, and especially if you're ships in the night, because it's a lot to appease the attention of children and connect with your spouse. And a lot of the times people will say, oh, well, the kids are here and we just have to do it this way. That connection needs to be stronger, because that's the connection. Like, you've got 21 years in, so you're winning. But that's the part where a lot of people don't make that time. And I know you guys are probably one of the best couples I see that do actively say, okay, this is date night. This is what we're doing in the coming months. I mean, you guys already have things scheduled out for the next few weeks where it's going to be your family date and then your spouse date night. So I think those are essential things that if you're somebody who's in a relationship, those are things you need to be doing. If you're somebody who's raising a family, and those are things you need to be doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. When you are frazzled, what's a tool that you use to help yourself just come back, to tune back in?
I always tend to turn the radio on, and it's funny. I'll turn the radio on, and it's not the radio. And I mean, I don't know if there's even radios anymore. It's, streaming music.
Right.
And, but it'll be like, it's weird. It'll be like 3 or 4 songs in, and it'll be a song that will bring me back to an event or a location or something, and it just calms me down. Music always calms me down. I have no musical ability whatsoever. I don't even sing in the shower because it's not pretty. but music always centers and grounds me, I feel. And then I'll, reading a book if I have the time, having a cup of coffee. I'm a coffee snob. I have to have it. It's right here. I mean, I'll sleep. I could drink a pot of coffee and fall asleep because caffeine. Cheers. It doesn't faze me, but it's the act of making and enjoying a cup of coffee, sitting and doing, if I'm unplugged and doing nothing, if I'm playing a silly video game on my phone, those are always things that just, nothing that involves thought or anything. I just sit and unplug. Whether it's virtual,
and that's important, allowing yourself the time to just unwind.
Yeah.
If you are getting anxious, if you are getting overwhelmed, if you are getting frazzled, just take time to unplug. Take time to do something fun, like play a game or put on the radio or chill out or just pick up a book or just sit in stillness. A lot of times we don't give ourselves that, and we're like, I'll just push through it. And then it's like, okay, wow, you're just causing more friction. You're causing yourself more frustration. You're causing yourself more ugh. And so allowing yourself that time to just like, okay, I need a breath. I also love
pusher, and I tend to be somebody that will overdo things. You've seen my lawn at holiday time. But I tend to push myself because I want my son, it's all for my son. I do everything I can for him to make sure that his world is perfect and everything around him is happy. So,
and most parents do, most parents do. And so the little things that we can do to help ourselves to find that balance is key. And every mom listening, you know that you do the same things that Heather and I do, and you push yourself to the extremes. Like, it's part of being a mom, right? And we all mom in our own ways and to our own children, but we also, when we remember that if we're exhausted and we're cranky, we're not being our best mom, right? And when we're in the space of not giving ourselves those simple little pleasures. Like, I love the coffee ritual. I have a coffee ritual every day. I have a tea ritual because it's the thing that you enjoy to do, right? It gives you those little spots throughout the day to have little glimpses of self-care, little aspects of reconnecting with yourself, re-grounding yourself, redirecting your energy, choosing the things that bring you joy, choosing the things that bring you bliss, helping yourself move through situations that are causing you stress or frustration or anxiety or any of those. So it's important to do those things, to just be like, okay, yes. So I love that you were like, yeah. And it doesn't have to be hard, you guys. Like, it doesn't have to be hard. It can be so simple. Like, I know that we like to go out and, like, I know Heather is, before COVID, she loved to go out and get her nails done and everything. Now she's a color street girl. She supports her, it's your cousin or your sister-in-law?
My cousin's wife.
Yeah. Her cousin who is Color Street, who does nail, and that's fantastic. But taking the time to even do those things, it's a time to show yourself love. It's a time to connect with yourself. It's a time to be in your space and do something that brings you joy, because you're always excited when you're done that. If there was something that if we got off, you were like, oh my God, I wish I had said this. What would be that thing? What would you want to tell people who are tuning in today?
I saw this meme and I feel like it is me to a T. I'm not going to get it right because I can't get the quotes right. I never remember anything. I've always want to be the Pinterest mom, but I'm the Amazon mom, and I'm okay with that. I try, and it doesn't matter how it turns out. I always have grand plans for things and they never work out, but that's okay. And, I always want the Pinterest house. I want the Pinterest parties. I want the Pinterest kitchen table, the Pinterest meals, but I'm the Amazon mom because I want to get it done. And
right. Oftentimes I've nailed it.
Yeah.
Right? Oftentimes I come to that space of I've nailed it.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I love that. And it's okay, right?
Yep. Nothing. It is not the 1940s anymore. I don't sit at home all day and bake cookies. I am home. I am home. The amount of time I am home now is insane. I can remember during COVID, I turned to my husband. I said, I don't think I've left the house, and it has been over a month. You know, maybe going out in the drive, but I hadn't left my property in over a month. I'm like, I need to leave the house. And, you know, it's crazy how much going. And then when it got all taken away from us, and it was just like, oh, it's okay to not have the perfect centerpiece or the perfect, you know, birthday party plans, but I try and I get as close as I can. And it's okay if it's not right, because my husband's healthy and happy, my son is healthy and happy, and we have a roof over our heads, excuse me. So that's all that matters. I don't have to be mom from the 1940s.
Right? Like, I am not vacuuming in stilettos, but thank you.
No, I'm not vacuuming. Maybe behind me, but I'm not vacuuming.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Are you happy? Are you healthy? Are you safe? Is your family taken care of? Be grateful for those things. So many go without those things. So be grateful. Find gratitude in those things each and every day more and more and more. Heather, it has been wonderful having you today. I'm so glad you were able to tune in and share with us. It looks like a cloud just went over your head.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Wow, it's dark. This is perfect sleeping.
She's going to sleep. Lights out.
It's karma's way of saying it's time for bed.
Oh, well, thank you everyone for tuning in today. We've had a wonderful talk here, and we look forward to talking with you more next week. Don't forget to check out our show notes and the behind the scenes, and have a great one.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. And we want to hook you up because you're a loyal podcast listener. So head on over to www.rebeccapackard.com to get a special introductory price when you sign up for an emotion code session. Head on over to our website at www.rebeccapackard.com.